Hello, welcome to Technology of the Top 10, and I'm your Professor Ross Rice. Looking forward to having this class with you this semester. I'd like to apologize in advance that we'll be online due to the COVID situation and also to the fact that we just didn't really have a satisfactory room for us to meet in on campus this semester. I just didn't feel like you would be comfortable there. I wasn't really comfortable there, even though I've been assured that there are good filtration there, but there's no windows, and I felt sort of self-conscious about that. So I hope you don't mind that we've changed this. We also have several students that will be taking this from a distance and will not be on campus. So anyways, we're online this semester, and I beg your indulgence, and I'm glad to have you with me anyway. So what is this course about? Well, this is something that I've given a lot of thought to over my career as a musician and recordist over 35 years, as I've personally seen amazing changes in technology. I was a witness to seeing the digital era begin from the analog era. I was present for that. I'm old as dirt. And I have seen a lot of things happen since then, and I've just noticed that as new technologies arise in audio and in making music, that the result of that quite often is new styles of music, new approaches to music, and which then ask for new technologies to create a new environment. So there's been sort of an ongoing snowball effect of technology and music that I personally have observed in my lifetime, and this has been going on actually before it, since the actual beginning of recorded music with the invention of the phonograph in the late 1800s. So I thought maybe this might make a good course for people who are interested in music and in technology and engineering, and sort of finding a nexus point between those two subjects. And I think we found this with Technology of the Top 10, because as we come to find out, a lot of the most popular songs in existence had a particular key piece of technology that helped achieve that goal. And also the popularization of certain songs have made certain technologies all of a sudden part of the industry standard. Key technologies have been developed over time to create, transmit, record music with better quality all the time. And these technologies have come to really affect popular musical styles and trends. They really wouldn't even exist, some of these, without the technology. Like turntablism, for instance, we wouldn't have that without the turntable. But the turntable helped to create an entire genre of music, which we'll get into that later. But yes, the progression of these music styles as they go in through time, they demand new technologies as well, and the cycle continues. What I'll be asking you to do over the course of this semester is select two of these technologies, which I believe you've already selected, and I would like you to look at these technologies and become something of an expert on them for a class. Look into the origin, the inherent function of the technology, and explain it, how it's used, and how it relates to this top 10 song or any top 10 song that you find that actually illustrates this technology more clearly than the one that I've selected for you. We do have some reading for this course. There's two books that I think you'll find pretty interesting. I certainly did. One of them is called Capturing Sound and How Technology Has Changed Music by Mark Katz. This book sort of really is on the nose about what this subject's all about, especially talking about the phonograph, because the invention of the phonograph probably was the most influential thing to ever happen to music. I don't think that can be doubted at all. The fact that music went from being something that was never ever heard again once it was performed to something that could be played back over and over again in exact performance, that really changed how people thought about music forever. This book really kind of gets into a lot of that and how that progressed into modern music making. So he really sort of picked up on this idea that I had, that I thought that I'd had myself, but he sort of took this and ran with it, especially with some of the earlier inventions of recording. Then the second book I want you to read is called How Music Got Free, a story of obsession and invention by Stephen Witt. And this book is fascinating. It goes over the history of the MP3, and it looks at it through the eyes of three different characters. One of them is the inventor of the MP3, Karl-Heinz Brandenburg, the most powerful label head in the world at that time, Doug Morris, and the world's most successful music pirate at that time, a man by the name of Del Glover. This story is actually just pretty mind-blowing to realize how unintended consequences of genius inventors result in the absolute decimation of the music business and the reinvention of it as we know it. This book in particular, I think you're going to find pretty fascinating. The first half of the term will be the cat's book. The second half will be the wit book. Also, there's not going to be a final exam. What I'm going to have for you is a timed final test essay, and we'll put that in the last day of class, so don't worry about anything after the 10th. What I will do for that is I will give you a choice of popular songs, or you could even choose a popular song. And then what I'll ask you to do is write about how at least 3 different technologies that we've covered over the course of the semester directly affect the sound and overall quality of this song. When you're taking this final test essay, you will also have all of your class's presentations to draw from for information. So what we're also going to be creating here, in a sense, is a body of study here with all of us in the class about music and technology that we can also all draw from each other. So what do we expect from your presentation? Okay, so really I've got 4 things in mind that I'd like you to sort of focus on. First of all, really want you to get into the origin of this technology. Who invented it? Where and when did it happen? Why did it happen? Was there a problem that needed to be solved? Did it get solved by this? Or did this technology get misused somehow or used in a way that was not its original intention and become a new technique? Also, a lot of times, a lot of these audio technologies are discovered by people who are looking for something completely different. We'd like to know how this technology came to be, what caused it. Then I'd like you to explain how it works as accurately as you can. I'm not expecting an absolute full understanding of it with technical drawings and just an absolute amazing recall of what this technology can do. I do, however, welcome you to go as deep into it as you would like to, however your interest drives you. But what I really mostly want you to do is to understand this technology well enough to explain it to us. That would be pretty much the second part of it. Then I would like you to sort of marry this technology to the popular songs that it influenced and then were influenced by later. It's important to sort of also be able to point out in the song how the technology affected that song. Where can you hear that technology? What does this technology sound like? What are we hearing when we hear the music? Do we hear it? So if you can help us understand and explain how the technology and the music work together in a way that we can understand, that would be the third component. And then the fourth component is we'd like to know what your opinion is about this technology. Does it improve the music? Did the technology make music better afterwards? Or did it ruin music that came afterwards, in your opinion? Did the music require the technology to exist in the first place? Does the technology require the music to exist? What were the long-term implications of this technology going further into the future? So I'm really looking for your take on what this technology is and what it means to the music. So how should we present online? And this is a good question because I'm still trying to figure this out myself. So I have some ideas I'm happy to share with you, but I'm also going to look to some of you who have some ideas about how you can make a decent presentation. We're going to be on WebEx. So that means what you will be doing is making your presentation and then presenting it on WebEx via a link or however you wanted to do it. WebEx can take fairly large files. You can just upload it. You can make a video in any format that you want to. And one of the things that I use a lot of times is this program called OBS. And OBS is free, really useful. It's a great way to sort of put together your camera, your microphones, any other media that you have available and make it possible for you to sort of put together a good real-time presentation. Good enough for me to see what you're trying to do. What I recommend is just pre-recording the video because I don't think we're going to be able to actually meet as a class due to the fact that we have several members of this class that will be taking this class from around the world. So I've decided to keep this asynchronous, which should make it easier for everybody. That way you can sort of watch these videos whenever you want to. What I'm kind of looking for, yes, is a narrated PowerPoint or keynote presentation that's been captured on your desktop somehow. So however you can find to do that is fine with me. There are a lot of different solutions to this situation, and I'm going to look into it as well. But I use OBS, and I would recommend that as well. The thing I'd like to also have you do in your presentation is to provide as much visual information as you can. There are diagrams that we can understand and look at, and also to provide appropriate audio examples, things that we can hear, so we can sort of hear these technologies in action. Wikipedia, Google are great starting points. They're not going to be citations. Use those to find good citations. I'll need 3 for your presentation at a minimum. Feel free to have more. As far as the presentations are concerned, I am not going to grade you on the quality of the presentation per se. I'll be grading you on the information that's imparted. So if the camera work isn't great, or you didn't quite get a certain thing to happen that way you wanted to in that environment, I'm not worried about that. I'm mostly concerned about the information. Do you understand it well enough to explain it to me and the class? That's really the number one thing that I'm looking for. And what is very necessary to this process is that everybody in this class responds to all presentations. And when you respond to a presentation, you can respond as short or long as you like, and I'll have some questions to ask you about, which I wouldn't mind you to respond concerning each of these. So each of those responses are presentation points that you need to add up, and those will count towards your grade. So as a result of all this, yes, in a way, this is what they call a flipped class, and you are the teachers. Congratulations. That's not to say that I'm not going to be doing anything, but at the same time, I think this is a great opportunity for you to really get to know a subject that you're interested in and learn how to express it well. So all you've got to really worry about are 2 presentations, 4 quizzes, 2 short papers, 1 final essay. That's pretty much it. And then the responses, of course. So what this means is that it's not a lot of work. There's not a lot of reading. It's fairly easy. This also means that you do have some time to really get into your presentation subjects. This is really a good chance for you to learn a lot about something that might have been of real interest to you. If you love popular music and audio recording technology, probably won't get that many opportunities to do that here at this school. Think of this presentation also as a rehearsal for further presentations, because at the college level, I got news for you. You're going to be doing a lot more presentations for your other classes, especially as things progress into the sophomore, junior, and senior year. So this is a good sort of little practice one. The main criteria that I need is that you know the technology well enough to explain it. I know I've said this a couple of times, but the repetition bears repeating. I want your presentation to be informative, well-paced, and entertaining. Please make it at least a little entertainment. You don't have to be so dry. You can have a little fun with it. It's okay. Use whatever you can use. Just do the best you can with this. And the one thing also that I should mention is that I've spent some time with all of these technologies at one time or another. So what I will be doing when you do your presentation is I will be following up with additional information and maybe a couple of questions of you, the presenter, and some questions that I would like everybody else to explore themselves when they respond to the presentation. Again, presentation points for each of the responses, and it's important to keep up with those. And if I feel like you're getting behind with those, I'll probably send you an email saying, hey, please respond to some of the other presentations. Thank you. Another thing I'd really like you to do, if you are so inclined, if you see a presentation and it brings to mind a piece of music that you believe was also very important and influenced by this particular piece of technology, please share it with us. Please just go ahead and put a link of that up for us, and we can follow that. And the more that we can share about the music and the technology, that we can actually hear it. It's one thing to know about it and learn about it, but it's another thing to hear what it's doing. I mean, we take for granted so much of the audio technology that we're exposed to, and yet every one of these things that's on this list is something that has contributed to the songs that you hear today. Let me talk a little bit about these quizzes and papers now. I'm provided some dates for you, and on those dates, I will be giving a short timed quiz, and folks that are overseas in other countries will figure out the right times for you to do that. But for the most part, during our class time that day, at I believe around 2:40, we will be doing a quick quiz, very quick, very short, maybe 20 minutes. About 5 questions, maybe 7 questions, just general in nature about the chapters we've been reading. And this is my way of sort of keeping you on point. I'll sort of give you some warning about that. I don't like to do pop quizzes. I like to tell you well in advance so you don't just show up and go, oh no, there's a quiz. The papers that I'm going to be asking for about the readings, between 800 and 1,000 words, so about 3 pages at 10 point, 1.5 spacing. I don't need a hard copy. I don't need outside citations or images unless you want to do that. I really am looking for essays based on the questions about the book's subject matter. These papers will be straightforward. I'll give you basically the format for those. Your writing, if it's good, I'll probably just be fine with that. I'm not an English teacher though, y'all. I will be looking at though, and if I feel like there's some issues that with your writing that you might want to address before you go further into your college career, I'll refer you to Com+D, and they do a great job of helping you sort of get that together so you can really have your writing together by the time you really need it to be, which is going to be in about 2 or 3 years. One of the things I'm also going to do after you see this video in the next few days, I'm going to be providing all of you with some basic resources and starting points for your presentation research. Again, I do want to mention I'll be looking for you to have 3 outside sources for your research. Also, I just want to reiterate, it's very important to watch your classmates' presentations and post responses. For your timed final test essay, you will have access to all the presentations of your classmates for information, so please use them. And make sure you give credit where it's due. Well, I'm sorry we won't meet in person this semester, but we're going to just have to make the best fit with this course as we can. I wish you all the best of luck while you're on campus. Those of you that are on campus, those of you who are not on campus, I hope all is well with you wherever you are. And those of you on campus, just stay safe. Let's make this work this semester if we can, and if we do, then we can get past this and then we can get on with our lives as best we can. But in the meantime, let's have some fun and let's learn a little bit about some interesting music technologies and some interesting pieces of music. Anyways, I'll see you soon, and please be looking out for further notices on WebEx. Thanks for your time. Talk to you soon.